YouTube, what's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another video, and in this video we are taking a look at a Jamal Crawford build, guys. We get the shades of Jamal Crawford in this as well. Now, if you guys are wondering how exactly I got the attributes for this build, I practically did something a little bit different than what I usually do, because what I usually do is I'll just take a look at the roster, take a look at their build, and then try to make it, you know, as close to their build as possible, or even just try to make it from scratch based on, you know, how I feel the player actually plays in real life or played in real life if they're not playing in the league anymore. But this time around, what I did is I just wrote down the attributes stat for stat, you know, with all the attributes that are in the builder anyway, from close shot all the way down to stamina, in both the template, if they have an NBA template available in the builder, then I will use the template. And then also one version of them, if they have many versions, of course, but a version of them in the play now roster, and I'll just write down those stats as well. I'll try and figure out what stats are the most important when it comes to that player based on everything else. And then if everything just comes to fruition, obviously, if they are like a lower overall player, such as this Jamal Crawford, because Jamal Crawford hasn't necessarily been a super high overall player. So when I was taking the averages, or at least like taking a look at all of the attributes, I was able to actually make the build a little bit better by meshing kind of like the two together and get higher attributes on some stats. Some of the stats are practically lower or whatever. This build is supposed to be practically representative of Jamal Crawford, but obviously still being usable and viable for online, rec, pro-am, park, whatever. It's supposed to just be viable and using the thresholds more effectively to be able to be played online. So that being said, 6'5", 200 pounds, 6'10". I know that, you know, some places, especially on like his basketball reference page, I think he's like 185. But if I'm not mistaken, the version of him that is on the Hawks in the LeBron era is 200 pounds, if I'm not mistaken. I'm not 100% sure. You guys can fact check me on that one. But also, there was really no point into me lowering the weight really that much, as well as like the wingspan. So it's like I kept the wingspan the same because Jamal Crawford does have a large wingspan. And with this particular build, let's just go over it. So with the close shot being super low, obviously you're not really going to be taking a lot of like close shots. You are going to be driving. So the only time that you are going to be taking close shots is if the game just kind of fucks you and force you into like a standing layup if you're close to the basket, instead of giving you like a layup or a mid-range shot or something like that. But the close shot, we really don't touch that much, just because we also have the 85 driving a layup, which the 85 driving a layup does give you the Hall of Fame Giant Slayer, which is kind of the threshold that we wanted to reach. We have Silver Slithery as well that is available. Then we have Gold Acrobat. We have Gold Bunny, Float Game on Gold, which is pretty good. Pro Touch on Hall of Fame, which is always a W. Scooper on Hall of Fame as well, which, if you guys know, Scooper obviously is a really, really good badge. We get Whistle on Silver as well because of us having a super high mid-range as well, which if we had the 93 mid-range, we'd be able to get Gold Whistle, but obviously that's not the case at all because of everything else about this build, which obviously I'm going through everything here on the reason why I have everything the way that it is. Now, if we go ahead and just go all the way down to the mid-range, because obviously the standing dunk is just upgraded because that was the last extra point that was available to just throw in there. But for mid-range, obviously we have the 92 mid-range. Why do we have the 92? Well, I mean, Mini Magician for Hall of Fame, you know, for one anyway on Hall of Fame. But not only that, but just for the sake of me personally, I like having the specific animations. So 92 practically unlocks Kobe base, which is one of the best bases in the game in my personal opinion. I really love using Kobe base on my 6'5 plus builds. So any build that is literally like 6'5" to 6'9", that in that typical range usually has the Kobe Bryant base. Now, usually for like 6'4" and under builds, it's Curry base. That's like kind of like the equivalent. So it's like your best bases to use for like higher ratings typically is Kobe, because that requires like a 92 plus mid-range or 3-point rating in order to unlock it. Same with Curry. So typically that's why I go to the 92, is for unlocking practically most of the basic jump shot animations, just so I can get the best animation possible and the best jump shot possible to use by using the best bases in the game. So with the 92 mid-range as well, I mean, as you can see, we have like a lot of badges that are gold and Hall of Fame. I mean, we also have guard up on Hall of Fame, as well as open looks being on Hall of Fame. So you know for a fact that we are going to be able to hit our open shots consistently. And we also have gold spot finder. So if we are off the ball for some reason, we're just able to get into that open space, especially if somebody's doing an off ball screen, and then you just quickly get to that open spot. You're going to be able to just speed to that open spot, get the ball, shoot the three or the midi, whichever one it is. Then you have gold space creator, which is pretty good. Hall of Fame guard up, as I mentioned. But then you also have gold catch and shoot, which is obviously solid. Gold green machine. You have gold blinders and deadeye. So you're going to be able to hit those late closeout shots a lot easier. As you know, if you know the timing of your shot and everything, with all these badges procking, you should have no problem hitting those late contested closeouts. So then, you know, same with like the 81 3-pointer, kind of want to just bring it down to like like an 80 if it's possible. And the main reason for that is just because it's like, well, it's whatever. So it's like here, as you can see, I can't bring down the close shot at all, because it's like if I wanted to, I'd try to get the 93 to get spot finder, or not spot finder, to get the whistle badge on gold, but it's not 100% important. Or maybe I can just throw it on, you know, something else like speed with ball, for an example. But it's not really going to be that much of a difference here, which is why I just kept at an 81 3-pointer, just to get it above an 80 at that point. Because it's like, even though on the original version of the build here, which I will say typically has like a super high close shot, but because it is a lower overall player, after all, but the NBA template usually has an 81 close shot with an 85 driving layup and a 50 driving dunk, which I'm not gonna put a 50 driving dunk on this build right now, just because that just uses up attributes I can just use everywhere else, which is why I said it's not going to be 100%, but is going to be a better version and a more playable version. So it's like, if the best thing on here is the driving layup with an 85 driving layup, I might as well just try to get it as close to an 85 as possible, which is good because the 85 driving layup gives us the Hall of Fame Giant Slayer. And if we're going to be a 6'5 shooting guard, or, you know, point guard or whatever, 6'5 shooting guard, point guard, regardless, you're either in the 2 or the 1. Or for the most part, you're going to be a lot shorter, because a lot of players will use 6'8s, 6'9s, 6'6s, 6'7. But for the most part, if you are going against, you know, like even a small ball team where their bigs are, you know, the meta 6'8, 6'9 players, you're still at least 3 inches shorter, which means that you're going to be able to proc Giant Slayer to its full effect. And I believe it is at least 3 inches that gives you the full effect of Giant Slayer, like before. You can correct me if I'm wrong about this version of Giant Slayer in this game, but I remember before it was at least 3 inches difference for Giant Slayer to really have the full effect. Same with like the other badges that had to deal with height that are not in this game, but were in, you know, back in 2K23. But then also, like for the Play Now version, it had an 84 driving layup with a 50 driving dunk and an 85 close shot. But because we're just not focusing on close shot, and it's like, okay, well, we can afford the 85 driving layup, the 84 would still be valuable if we were able to, if we weren't able to get the 85. But because of the 3-point shot here, us, bringing it up. If we couldn't bring it up to an 85 from it, we can just bring it down just to do so, which is absolutely fine. But the mid-range three-pointer and free throw for the template version had a 92 mid-range with an 83-point rating, so we're pretty much on the money with that one, except that it had a 71 free throw, while the Play Now version had an 80 mid-range, only a 77 three-pointer, and an 85 free throw. But because of the way that this build is and how we're able to, manipulate the stats a little bit differently, or how we, are forced to take stats and manipulate them differently, we're not able to get the 97 ball handling that we can also usually use. So that's like more attributes that we can just throw on here in general. So we're just able to get the 92, 81, 85 on here, just making sure that all three are there. Plus, it's not like free throw 100% takes a lot of your potential overall. Like, most of the other stats do, like speed, acceleration, three-pointer, all that stuff. So it's not like it takes as much of your potential overall like the other stats do. And same with stamina. Stamina should be maxed out on every build, period, because it doesn't really take you in like a single overall point at all. But then when it comes to playmaking, Jamal Crawford's builds, surprisingly, with both the NBA templates and the Play Now roster, both had a 77 or a 75 pass accuracy, which is weird to me, considering that they also had a 95 ball handling on the template, which, makes sense in general that it's a 95, and we have the 95 because when in the actual builder, being 6'5", even if you lower your wingspan, you're not really going to get any higher ball handling than a 95, especially if you are trying to make it like Jamal Crawford. Then 95 is pretty much the max that you can get it at. Meanwhile, the Play Now roster version on the LeBron era Hawks, that version has a 97 ball handling with a 75 pass accuracy and 84 speed with ball. Now, the other version, the template, has a 77 pass accuracy, which makes sense because it's such a good threshold. You'll see me talking about the 77 pass accuracy threshold on a lot of my build videos coming up. And what's really, really good about the way that we just manipulated the stats here is the fact that we don't have the close shot. We don't have the driving dunk as well. So we have extra attributes to utilize. And also because we're not upgrading, extra stats just for randomness and whatever, such as like our vertical, we didn't really touch, offensive rebound, block, interior defense, we didn't really upgrade at all. Same with the driving dunk. So it's like a lot of this stuff that we didn't upgrade that, typically would be upgraded in the Play Now roster version or even the template versions. That would make no sense otherwise, because it doesn't give any badges, doesn't really help that much because it's just barely an increase, because the block and offensive rebound both are a 28, which I believe is only because of the vertical going up to a 60. I'm not 100% sure on that. I haven't really tested that theory out, but they're both a 28. Then you have a 30 defensive rebound, just because obviously it's at a 71, not a 75 like ours is. So we have like a lot of things here. And then also because I just can't tell you why you would increase the defensive rebound or anything like that on a guard that doesn't grab rebounds. Not saying he can't grab rebounds in real life, or anybody can't grab rebounds in real life, but in terms of the build and what makes sense for the build, no point in a guard having a rebound, especially when you are surrounding yourself with 5 other players that are at least 3 inches taller, or 4 other players that are at least 3 inches taller, so on and so forth. But it's like we have the 95 ball handling, which is pretty accurate in the highest that we can get it to. And then we have the 83 speed with ball, because the 84 doesn't really reach a badge threshold here. As you can see, triple strike doesn't really get it because you have to have an 89 speed with ball and an 85 acceleration in order to get the triple strike on Hall of Fame. hyperdrive is already gold. You need a 91 speed with ball and a 90 speed. You're not going to be able to reach that threshold. And a speed booster, you need the 91 speed with ball and a 92 speed or 93 acceleration, but you're not going to be able to reach that either. Same with blow by, you need a 97 ball handling, which I mentioned that you're not able to get the 97 ball handling on this build. And then also the 89 speed with ball and the 90 acceleration, not going to happen. But of course, with these thresholds, you get all of these badges on the speed with ball to gold, which is pretty good. Ball handling being in 95 practically gives you that handles for days on Hall of Fame, which is, phenomenal. But not only that, you have Hall of Fame ankle breaker. And we also have, all the other badges that we mentioned before, including gold unpluckable. And we also have killer crossover. That's what it was before. But now it's killer combos, not killer crossover. It's killer combos. And then also we have physical handles because we increased our strength enough to be able to get it, which is pretty solid. Now for defense, though, we did practically go with the default because I know like some of this stuff is increased, which the template version has like a 35 interior defense, increasing that. Having, a 60 steal, 71 perimeter defense, a 28 block and offensive rebound with the 30 defensive rebound. And the Play Now version has a 43 interior with a 61 perimeter defense, 41 steal, 37 block, 31 offensive rebound, and a 38 defensive rebound. So with that being said, because we're not increasing block or offensive rebound, we're not increasing interior defense, we did not increase our close shot up to the 80s like it is on both other versions of the build. And because we did not touch a driving dunk at all, that leaves us with plenty of extra attributes to be able to just throw in here to get the 75 perimeter defense so we can get clamps at least. And then, everything else on bronze, getting the off-ball pest on silver, which is pretty damn solid for, somebody that can be on the perimeter, can defend a little bit, but obviously is going to be a pretty average defender at best. This is pretty solid. The 72 steal rating, just so we can get in the lanes and get steals. And if we get like a mismatch on somebody that doesn't have as high of a ball handling, we can at least try and get some rips with a glove and right stick ripper combo, getting the passing lanes at least, maybe with some tips, maybe some steals with right stick ripper interceptor. Because if you guys didn't know, right stick ripper also works in the passing lanes. Keep that in mind. You can intercept passes using right stick ripper and interceptor as a wombo combo. Keep that in mind. But then also it's like defensive rebound. We can obviously bring that down as much as we really, really want to. Don't really matter too much. It's one of those situations where it's like, okay, wow, we can decrease like all these extra stats. It doesn't really matter. These are just attributes that don't really matter too much. So we put the extra 2 points in the defensive rebound. And then 1 extra point in the standing dunk. It's whatever. Now with the physicals, though, it's a little bit different because typically on the NBA template version, we would have an 82 speed with an 87 acceleration. So practically what we have here flipped is what the template version has, with a 35 strength, 60 vertical, and the 99 stamina. Obviously, we have the 99 stamina. That's going to be a guarantee. But we didn't increase it to a 60 vertical. And the reason why is because the 60 vertical literally does nothing for us. Like, yes, the vertical can give us chase down artists at a 60, but there is no point in it increasing it anything higher than what we have now. And the reason, because like we get the 58 for aerial wizard, whatever, but it's still really not even necessary to get aerial wizard at all. But aerial wizard is there just in case, somebody does throw a lob on on a fast break play, and you can just easily catch it, do like a layup off the lob. It's just something simple like that, just so you can catch lobs on fast breaks, whatever, have like some flashy plays, because that's what Jamal Crawford is known for, having his flashy plays. So yeah, I mean, it's just really simple. We just kind of flipped the speed and acceleration just so we can make sure we can utilize speed booster and hyperdrive as effectively as possible. With the acceleration, making sure that we can get all of these badges as high as possible as well. And then the strength being increased to a 63, just so we can get clamps. But not only that, but we get fearless finisher on silver, pretty good because we get an 85 driving layup. And then physical handles being silver as well, which is pretty damn solid. So overall, all this stuff here is pretty solid. We get the 99 stamina, so we can indeed get the Hall of Fame handles for days. That's also solid there. But yeah, this is practically a really, really solid build in my personal opinion. I do believe this is a really, really good Jamal Crawford build, but I definitely want to hear from you guys. What do you guys think about this Jamal Crawford build? Let me know in the comment section below. Make sure to leave a like, comment your feedback in the comment section below. Shot creating 3-level threat. That's exactly what his build name is on the roster for the LeBron era. So if you go to the LeBron era, you take a look at his Hawks version there, and you see the shot creating 3-level threat build name. It's pretty damn solid, guys. Pretty damn solid. I know some people in the Discord, when I posted the stats, they're loving it, and I know that you guys will love it too. Stay tuned for even more NBA player builds. If you guys have a player in mind that you guys want to see me try to create, let me know in the comment section below. I got you. That's going to be it for me. See you all in the next one. Later, everybody.